Jay. You got to figure that. I mean, because here's the thing. Not everybody is. And that's what I'm saying, though, Jay. Because if you ask that question and you answer it as no, I'm not in the building, right? But if you answer it as no, we don't think he is, we think this could be the final straw that completely breaks him, then you got issues, right? Because then you go, well, maybe we did make a mistake as far as, like, giving him all that money to be the absolute franchise quarterback outside of the talent. But then you go, well, how do we make the move then, right? Like, how can we start Jalen Hurts then if we don't feel that Carson is good enough? And, guys, like, you got to understand, Jay, you notice, Z, like, this is now the second person in power in that organization that has chose, I guess, in a different way or gone in a different direction than Carson Wentz. Their general manager, Howie Roseman, drafted Jalen Hurts in the second round. After last year's performance, when Carson Wentz finally moves on from the whole Nick Foles thing, right? So then you're going, as a quarterback, as a player, you're going, well, what the heck, man? And now Doug Peterson has benched you. And you guys, I don't know if you've heard the comments yet today, but Carson after the game was like, oh, I didn't have a conversation with Doug. I didn't know what the plan going into the game was going to be. Like, how do you not have those conversations? How are you not going, hey, Carson, if we struggle, Jalen's going to have the chance to come in. And if he plays well, I'm going to leave him in there. Like, the lack of communication right now in the organization is not good. And the quarterback has absolutely zero confidence. And then he can't say some of those things are out of my control. That's incorrect. Jalen Hurts getting on the field is in your control. He got on the field because you haven't played well enough.
Dan, let me ask you this, and be honest with me here. Is he a franchise quarterback? Carson Wentz,
I think he, talent-wise, unquestionably. Like, unquestionably talent-wise, no hesitation, that guy's a franchise quarterback. You don't have in the first 3 years of your career 81 touchdowns, or the last 3 years, 17, 18, 19, 81 touchdowns and 21 picks. I mean, that is unprecedented performance, right? So you don't have that and not have the talent to be a franchise quarterback. Now, again, not being in the building, hearing things, there's obviously some stuff going on behind the scenes that makes you at least be worried that can he handle being the franchise quarterback, the unquestioned leader, the absolute rock star of a city like Philadelphia. The fall off from last year has been stark. And I have been somebody that has said it's bigger than just the quarterback. He's playing his part, but it's bigger than just the quarterback. So I just know this, Key, and you know this, man. Like, you don't just find talent. You don't just find it and think it's okay. And that's why my point was of this is bigger than just should they start Jalen Hurts. Everyone has pointed to it's nearly impossible for Carson Wentz not to be there next year as their starting quarterback because of the finances. That's why you have to find out where he is mentally.
Help me with this, Dan, because I don't know everything about football and I don't know everything about quarterbacks or the history of football. But my eyes tell me, having played in the league as long as I've played and been around the league as long as I've been around, I've never seen a franchise quarterback that is young get benched and then come back from it. Have you? I've never. Guys usually get benched. When they bench, the organization is pretty much done with them. I've never really seen that happen. Have you seen it where a guy, Carson Wentz style, meaning like his third, fourth year franchise guy, gets benched and then they go back to him?
No, I mean, it's a great point, Key. I haven't seen it. I know Max always brings up this happened to something like Donovan McNabb many years ago, and
but he
ended up leading them.
But he was at the end, though. He was at the end of his career.
Yeah, I don't recall that one. I personally don't recall that one. So that I don't remember a time when a team has decided to bench. I mean, we're a year removed, or maybe 14 months removed from them giving him a huge contract, and then we're 11 months ago or 12 months ago from him and Doug carrying this team into the playoffs and having just an absolutely spectacular run in performance. And so that's why, you're right. I also don't know when was the last time that we saw a guy have such highs and be so on this meteoric rise in his career and then have such a fast fall down. I don't know when the last time I saw something like that at the position.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about another quarterback in the Cleveland Browns and another guy that you've been breaking down all season long in Baker Mayfield. How big was yesterday for Baker Mayfield? He passed the quiz. He has the test coming up against the Ravens on Monday night.
Yeah, that was Baker's biggest win and his best performance in his career. I think he's playing like he's the leader of the football team mentally. Like he's playing like that's his football team. And the great thing is you're seeing a lot of highs out of Baker, certainly in the last 4 or 5 weeks. You're seeing a lot of highs, but you're not seeing any lows. You know, like he's cut some of the lows out where he's had some moments where you go, come on, Bake. But yesterday's really about Kevin Stefanski. You know, last year it was the Cleveland Browns offense stinks and Baker Mayfield stinks. This year, the Cleveland Browns offense is good and Baker Mayfield's good. Well, coaching matters. You know, certainly there's 2 or 3 new pieces on that offense, specifically on the offensive line, but, you know, coaching matters. And the coach is coaching with confidence in the quarterback. He's provided confidence. Baker's playing with a ton of clarity. They're one of the best third down offenses in the NFL over the last 6 weeks. So it's his best performance and his biggest win.
Dan, I've been saying the whole show that the Browns have a very high ceiling depending upon what Baker Mayfield you get. If you get the one that he just played, like that's a dangerous team. Is it feasible to think, or am I crazy, that Browns team with Baker playing at a high level could beat the Pittsburgh Steelers? I don't know if they have enough in the tank to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, but I think they can beat the Steelers if they play the way we saw them play against the Titans. Is that feasible?
I can't go there yet, no.
Okay.
I can't. Now,
even though the Ravens almost beat the Steelers, Dan, without Lamar Jackson and company?
Here's my thing, Jay. That game's on a Wednesday. You know, that game was postponed 14 times. Like, at some point, players just get so fed up with the changing of the schedule and the lack of kind of familiarity they have with it. But I was going to say, like, the caveat is the Bud Dupree injury. I mean, that's a huge injury. But I can't sit here and say unquestionably, I think that the Browns, you know, have a very good chance to beat the Steelers. I will say this. I've been saying this for 6 months now. The Browns are the Tennessee Titans of last year. You know, the Tennessee Titans were this team that started to play better football, and the quarterback really started to get hot. Opportunistic defense. They are a pass-first, run-to-win football team. The Browns are a pass-first, run-to-win football team. They're built very similar kind of philosophy and impact-wise. So, yeah, if Baker's playing well and Stefanski's 100% in his bag, which he was yesterday, this team's a very difficult out. There's no question about it. But I can't sit here and say that if they played Pittsburgh today, I'm favoring the Pittsburgh Steelers for sure.
We'll get a chance to see the Steelers tonight on the Monday Night Double Dip. They'll host the Washington football team, and then Buffalo and San Francisco in Arizona because of the 49ers relocation, because of everything going on in Santa Clara County with the coronavirus. That means Buffalo coming back to the site of the Hail Mary loss.